What's poppin', y'all? Legend Jay-Z has been going on his press run for this year. We don't know what it's leading up to, but I don't think he anticipated, him and his team, what would come of it, because this clip says a lot.
I tell people all the time, never fight against the future. The future's coming. Artists, they were trying to recreate something that was already done, but they're not connected to it like that. They're not living it and breathing it. They were fighting against gravity as opposed to telling their story. We needed that other side. We needed to hear about what happens when you've had 4 successful albums. What happens? What is that feeling like? How do you make the next one? How did you get in the studio? How are your kids? How do you interact with them as this hip hop dad? But if you're trying to make young music and you're not young, it's gonna be inauthentic. And people could feel that. You could smell it. So the best thing that anyone can do, like going through music, is to tell their story, and just keep creating from that space. I love what the clips are doing right now, and how it's authentic to them, and they're telling a story about their mom and dad who just passed away, and how deep that is. With John Legend singing on the chorus, and everything that they've been through is an authentic display. A piece of classic material that it could have came out 96 or come out 2026. It still feels the same because it's real and it's authentic to who they are.
So, of course, in the new clipping media that we're in, where the majority of people are consuming their content in short, bite-sized snapshots, where they're taking, the whole sentiment for an interview is coming from these short clips. Academics would react to this and give a little bit of a different spin on what Jay-Z was saying.
I'm going to say the elephant in the room, man. This is hating Jay-Z once again. He talking to Drake, man. You know Drake turning 40 this year. He trying to he one of them type of niggas gonna give you the bad advice that hopefully you follow, and then when you get unsuccessful, he be like, well, at least you tried. At least you know them people be like, well, at least you did it the right way. Man, if you don't get the fuck out of here, Jay-Z. Jay-Z had a whole career. That nigga said 30's a new 20 when he became 30. The nigga said, I'm young forever. And now that he's 70, he's trying to tell other nah, y'all gotta make music like y'all old now, man. Nah, don't do what I was doing, saying 30 the new 20, young forever. Y'all gotta leave the youth alone. Man, get the fuck out of here. I keep telling y'all, man, Jay-Z the type of bruv, when he ready to, Jay-Z likes to put a bow on a lot of bull. The guy's 70. Half his life, Jay-Z was like 50 when he was like, I'm young forever. What you mean you young forever? Let's go back and check out the math.
Somehow, he turns this into being shots taken at Drake. Yes, exactly, Drake. And what's also funny about Academics is he talks about Jay-Z saying this when he's 70. Jay-Z is 56 years old. But when people say Academics is 40, he's like, I'm not 40, I'm 34 or 36. It's either 34 or 36, one of those two. When he's given Jay-Z 14 years, dog. He's 56, you're calling him 70. People are saying that you're 40 and you're like, nah, I'm actually 36, which is 36, you're on your way to 40. I get it, but you got to give Jay-Z some slack here. So the interesting thing is that Academics is a big Jay-Z fan of his music, but him and Jay-Z's company, Roc Nation, have been going back and forth with some grimy games on the side of Roc Nation. Not really from Academics, to be fair. Now, what Jay-Z was talking about, what I gathered from this, and I'm taking this objectively, is he saying to be authentic. Is he saying that you can't be old and rapping about young stuff? No, he's not saying that, but that's if it's authentic to you. So Clips, for instance, and that's why he gave the example of Clips. Clips was Pusha T's been married for a very long time. He's got a family. Malice, formerly No Malice, he went through a whole phase where he left the music industry entirely. And then he went on a spiritual journey, became a Christian. I think he became a minister or something like that. Left behind secular music as a whole. And then now he's coming back and found a new way to mix that with his faith. Probably he's just loosened his faith a little bit. I don't is loosened is the right word? I guess loosened his interpretation of the faith, as opposed to loosening it makes it seem like I'm saying that he's not, as into it as he once was. I'm not saying that. So them coming together and rapping about what they were rapping about 20 plus years ago, which those themes are still in the music, would be childish and ridiculous because they're not living that life. But when you go to other art, if you just take it as age, so Jay-Z, for example, and Academics is talking about like, yo, he was singing Forever Young with Beyonce when he was 40 years old. Well, Jay got a late start. Like, yo, back in Jay's time, this was 96. He dropped his first album, Reasonable Doubt, 26. And Reasonable Doubt wasn't an instant takeoff, instant hit. Like, yo, teenagers blowing up in the 80s and 90s was not really a thing. Or they were getting taken advantage of. Probably by, it was very unlikely for you to blow up. Even like Bow Wow and stuff like that, that was really late 90s, early 2000s. So Jay-Z had to get it out the mud. He had to have a lot of experiences. He was in the streets. So it wasn't until 30 that he started to really reap what he sowed and get the fruits of his labor. So he was playing like a playboy. And back then, there wasn't this, damn, dude, you're pushing 30. Where's your family at? It wasn't really like that. There's like ageflation right now, if you want to call it that, where it's like they're pushing the age that you have to start a family at younger and younger. It's like, yo, you're 26 and you're not married yet? What's going on? It's like, what? But anyway, once Jay-Z went into that phase of his life, he stopped rapping about the kiddie stuff. He even took long breaks. He went to different business ventures. So his music reflected the point of time in his life. And now if we are going to look at young artists or old artists that are appealing to younger fan bases, because that's the first thing that people are going to come at Jay-Z for, which is, yo, what are you talking about? You just couldn't appeal to the new young generations, which is true. Unless someone is a real deal hip hop fan, like let's say they got into hip hop off of someone their own age and they are a very curious individual and they're like, you know what, let me check the history of this. Who are the goats of this? And they go back and they listen to Nas and they listen to Wu-Tang and they listen to Jay and things like that. Then they might gain an appreciation and become fans of Jay-Z. But if they're just going through the regular thing that the fan is going through, which is like, oh, I like these artists my age, I'm just going to keep listening to these guys. Yeah, I've heard a Jay-Z hit here and there. They're not going to be fans of Jay-Z. They're not going to be looking forward to a new Jay-Z release. But artists within Jay-Z's age range or older artists that the kids love, let's take a look at a couple. Ye, Future. Ye's pushing 50. All right, he's over 45. He's over the hump there. We've got, Future, like I said, Future is in his 40s. Playboi Carti is in his 30s or 20. He's 30 actually because he's 96. He's either 95 or 96. So that's Carti, or 97 maybe at best. I know he faked his age by 2 years or so. Regardless, Uzi is 30, but you could say that Uzi's not the leading guy right now, even though he's got a hit song right now. But like culturally, right, what are the kids like really, really looking forward to? It's Carti, and Carti's 30 plus. You've got Future, and you've got Ye. And there's Drake too. I don't think Drake is as much though, but that's who Academics felt that he was talking about, taking shots at Drake, which I don't think is the case. I really don't think Drake is at top of mind and that Jay-Z's going to throw subs at him in this manner. Unless he's throwing subs at Drake and Ye, but these guys, the reason why I say their music does not contradict what Jay-Z is saying is because it's authentic to them. Drake is still living like what a 18 to 25-year-old guy can relate to. He's meeting up with chicks. He's out there partying. He's out there in the mix. Yeah, he's got a kid. He kicks it with him here and there. But that's all there. Future's still getting messy. He's like, yo, if she don't got an AP, she not mine. You've got girls, baby mamas beefing about Future online, on the Shade Room, just like drama that young teens would be going through, or late teens, I should say. Late teens, early 20s, young adults would be going through. Carti had a kid and he's like, man, I'd rather play PS5 with Uzi. If that isn't the most young guy thing you could possibly do, what is? He's like, yo, we just got the PS5 before it launched. Yeah, that kid Onyx will be there, and name him Onyx too while you're at it. And she keeps complaining this guy comes once a year. Carti doesn't care. Carti is living that lifestyle. He's getting into it. He's speeding in the car. We see him get pulled over. He's scamming Aiden Ross for 250 grand, pulling up for a 10-minute stream where he's just jumping around with a Jason mask, or I think it's a Jason mask or something like that. He's into it with this new girl that's threatening to expose him. Iggy is still talking about him behind his back, trying to expose him to Academics. He doesn't care. He's dressing all types of, weird stuff. Yeah, his music is authentic to what he's living. Future also clowning his people like, what's his name? Russell Wilson, that's raising one of his kids. And then you've got you've got Future also declaring such a low income so that he only pays like 1.5K in child support to one of his baby mamas, trying to hit that finesse. He's like, yeah, she not getting bread out of me. Ye constantly having tantrums or just absolute like must say what comes to his mind, burning everything down, saying screw all these relationships, flying to Japan with his wife, just doing whatever the hell he's doing out there, jet setting throughout the world, seeing his kids when he feels like it. But really, it's kid energy. And Sneeko was even talking about it when he was with Ye. He's like, yo, the way that Ye operates, he'll work on music for 30 minutes to an hour. Then he'll work on some design stuff for the Yeezy clothing. And then after that, he'll work on some like domes or some things that he's talking about, like for architecture, because his wife is an architect. And he's just constantly moving from thing to thing all day, catching a flight. He's impulsive. Academics has said that Ye is also known to just randomly give a person a job. You see people around Ye randomly like, yo, Justin LeBoy, you rocking with me now. Justin LeBoy's with Ye all the time. There was a period of time when Jim Jones was around Ye. He's like, yo, I need that Jim Jones inspiration. You're staying around me right now. That type of activity, that type of motion, that type of impulsivity, that is something that resonates with the youth. And it's authentic to these guys. So it doesn't matter how old they are. And this is also why like DJs are like, for example, Diplo. How old do you guys think Diplo is? You're probably like, yo, I've never even thought about that. Yeah, because Diplo's not an age. Diplo's a DJ that brings an energy, that brings music, that's also tapped into new music, has constantly been on new waves, working with new artists, and living that DJ lifestyle for decades now. So even if Diplo's in his 50s, I don't know, he's not in his 50s, but even if he is, you're not thinking about that because what he does and what he produces matches his lifestyle. Now, if you're a 2 Chainz, right, and you've got a wife or like you're booed up, you got kids too, and you're talking about like, yo, I'm outside, I'm doing all these drugs, and they're like, yo, we just saw you dropping your kid off 2 days ago. You've been in the same city for months. What do you mean you're outside? You're not outside. We don't see you outside. It doesn't hit the same. Or like a street rapper that's not doing that stuff anymore. It doesn't hit the same. And that's what Jay is talking about. It's like authenticity, does it align? And for Jay, I think just mentally for him, he's like, yo, listen, I'm at the age where I can't be rapping about that. And he's given a nod to people who are rapping like that. And I also think that he's telling rappers that left that behind them, he's like, yo, you don't got to try to be like a Drake or be like a Ye, where these guys are still living that young lifestyle and young energy, which there's nothing wrong with these guys doing that. It's just a different path, but that's not the only way to succeed. And that's the way that I interpret it. Maybe I'm being a bit charitable towards Jay-Z here, but I don't think that he's out here to come at these guys' head tops. Jay-Z is out here to roll something out, and he's not going to stir beef with people in order to do that. And of course, he's promoting Clips, who they're on his record label, Rock Nation. Hopefully, he gives a nod to Uzi or something. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm going to see y'all on the next one.